1 minute ago, Camilla breaks down in tears after Princess Anne lashes out, "You're not the queen!" The entire United Kingdom was shaken when Camilla Parker Bowles was officially crowned queen, a title that, just a few decades ago, no one would have dared to imagine associated with the woman once seen as the other woman in the explosive marriage between Prince Charles and Princess Diana. From being cursed across newspaper headlines, Camilla has now stepped proudly onto the stage of glory, standing beside King Charles as a national symbol. But does that crown truly belong to her, or is it merely a royal mask being scrutinized by the public, who examine every line with suspicion? A recent survey revealed an uncomfortable truth. Only 14% of Britons support Camilla being called queen. The rest, many of whom grew up idolizing Diana, still fiercely cling to their emotional allegiance. In the hearts of millions, Diana remains the people's princess, the woman who dared to love, dared to hurt, and dared to fight back inside a cold palace. And Camilla? To many, she is still the symbol of betrayal wrapped in a royal robe. So what is truly happening within the heart of the British monarchy? Can Camilla erase the past and carve out a new legacy? Or will she always live in the silent yet immortal shadow of Diana? This isn't just a story about a crown, but a tragedy of love, power, and public sentiment. A silent battle that continues to burn in the soul of Britain. Camilla Parker Bowles, from rejected woman to unwelcome queen. The coronation of King Charles III was meant to be a historic moment of national unity. But when Camilla Parker Bowles was officially declared Queen of the United Kingdom, a complex wave of emotion swept across the country. The applause in the grand ceremony couldn't drown out the heavy silence that echoed in the hearts of millions of people who never forgot the image of Princess Diana, the woman who once stepped out of the shadows with a broken heart, only to be quietly replaced by a ghost of the past. Not by the love of the people, but by the power of the crown. Camilla once labeled the intruder, the other woman, the homewrecker, now sits upright on the throne, dressed in a magnificent gown, wearing a crown crafted from ancient diamonds. She walked beneath the vaulted ceiling of Westminster Abbey as if the past had left no scar. But that scar still bleeds in the public's heart. A YouGov poll shows that only 14% of Britons feel comfortable calling Camilla queen. This alarmingly low figure makes one thing clear. Though legally crowned, she has never won what truly matters, the trust and affection of the people. There is no denying that Camilla's rise is a stunning transformation. From a woman condemned by the press, forced to live in silence and shame for years, she slowly entered the royal inner circle with patience and strategy. But that very persistence also raises red flags. Many cannot forget the leaked, overly intimate phone calls between her and Prince Charles. The sultry whispers that came while he was still married to Diana. These were not romantic moments to be admired, but living proof of an extended betrayal unfolding while his legal wife was battling depression, pressure, and isolation. The image of Diana sitting alone before the cameras, her eyes shadowed and her smile forced, still haunts the British public like a permanent wrinkle on the face of the monarchy. And when Camilla, the woman many see as the root cause of that pain, now wears the title queen, it feels like a chapter of history being written in reverse. Like justice has been quietly rewritten, Camilla has tried to repair her image. She plays her part in the charity campaigns, attends events, smiles at the right moments, speaks with proper decorum. But no matter how hard she tries, she remains a polarizing figure. In popularity rankings among royal family members, Camilla routinely finds herself near the bottom ranking, just above scandal-ridden figures like Prince Andrew and, sadly, Prince Harry after his controversial departure with Meghan Markle. This reveals a harsh truth. The public may forgive, but they never forget. And Camilla, even with a crown upon her head, has never truly stepped out of the wreckage of the past she helped create. Camilla's ascent to the throne is not merely a personal story. It raises a much bigger question. On what foundation is power in the monarchy granted? Bloodline, love, public approval, or simply legal legitimacy on paper? If power is built on symbolism, then Diana is the eternal symbol. She didn't need a crown to become the queen of the people's hearts. Meanwhile, Camilla, despite having all the official recognition, has never been able to move the emotions of the public. And that is precisely why King Charles's new reign begins with hesitation. The public no longer hates Camilla as they once did, but they still cannot love her. They don't boo in protest, but neither do they applaud in welcome. They remain silent, and that silence is the loudest, coldest voice of all, a rejection that requires no words, because affection cannot be forced. Many observers believe that knowing this truth all too well, Camilla has chosen to retreat into the background. She avoids getting too involved in royal affairs, carefully avoiding the spotlight that now shines on Princess Catherine, who is emerging as a new symbol, winning the widespread affection that Camilla has never truly received. But even as she steps back, Camilla remains present on the throne, in ceremonies, and in every official royal document. She no longer needs to fight because the title is already hers. But honor that soft power Diana once possessed remains a luxury out of reach. Some say Camilla is a survivor, a woman who has weathered decades of media storms and prejudice to rise to the pinnacle of prestige. That is true, but her existence as a symbol is proof that resilience does not always come with love. In a monarchy increasingly reliant on public sympathy to endure, having a queen who is not beloved is a fracture the institution can no longer ignore. Camilla has become queen that is now irreversible, but whether she can become queen in the hearts of the people is another story entirely. A story without an ending, and perhaps one that may never have one, because the name Diana still echoes through every corner of Britain, a constant reminder that sometimes the crown does not rest on the head, but in the heart of the people. And that heart, even now, still does not belong to Camilla. Yet, in the very moment Camilla stepped onto the throne, in the spotlight of her new title, the whole of Britain seemed to hold its breath, because the name millions still carry in their hearts Diana once again rose in the collective memory, the woman who, to many, was the one truly worthy of being called queen, Diana Spencer, the young bride who entered the royal family in her 20s, with sorrowful eyes and a pure heart, was more than a symbol. She was a fresh wind that swept through the cold walls of Buckingham Palace, the first woman to make the British monarchy feel the power of love and compassion. While the world still praised luxury and grandeur, Diana knelt to embrace HIV patients, touched homeless children, and quietly wept for the suffering of ordinary people. She didn't do it for praise. She did it because she understood that those people didn't need ceremonies. They needed to be heard. Diana once dreamed of a fairy tale romance, the dream of any young woman entering a royal family. But no one told her that Prince Charles already had another princess in his heart, Camilla Parker Bowles. While the public rejoiced in the wedding of the century, Diana was already tasting a suffocating loneliness. The splendid palace walls could not warm a marriage gone cold. Instead, she faced distant conversations, avoided glances, and the ever-looming presence of a single name, Camilla. The marriage between Diana and Charles became nothing more than a glamorous shell for a drawn-out tragedy. In a bombshell interview, Diana once said, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." That statement, coupled with her anguished eyes, struck deep in the public's heart, because they didn't just see a betrayed woman. They saw themselves in her helplessness, in the pain of a wife pushed aside, even while living in the spotlight of royalty. But rather than collapse, Diana rose. She turned her pain into purpose, her tears into a gentle weapon. She devoted herself fully to charity work. She traveled to impoverished regions, led campaigns against landmines, advocated for children, for AIDS patients, for people society had long ignored. No one forced her to do it. And it was precisely that voluntary spirit that made Diana extraordinary. Atrick Jeffson, her former private secretary, once said bluntly, Diana knew she might never be queen on paper, but she wanted to be queen in people's hearts. And she did. No throne was ever placed beneath her feet, but millions of hearts placed her on the throne. Diana's legacy doesn't lie in a crown. It lies in the smiles of the children she once held in her arms, in the eyes of the sick she silently held hands with, in every photo capturing the moment she crouched down on a roadside, hand touching the ground, eyes looking straight into the faces of those the world had forgotten. That is why, when Camilla wears the crown, the feeling in the hearts of the British people is a strange mix. Not hatred, but regret. Regret for a woman who was once a symbol, who once dreamed a royal dream, only to wake up in a nightmare. Many believe that if Diana were still alive, today's monarchy would look completely different. A Queen Diana would never have had to strive to be loved because she was loved long before any title was bestowed upon her. And that is why, more than 2 decades after her tragic death, Britain has never truly healed. It wasn't just a car crash in a tunnel in Paris. It was the shattering of a dream, a trauma never fully repaired, a wound that silently bleeds each time someone utters the words, Queen Camilla. Camilla may hold the crown, may carry out royal duties with calm and professionalism, but she cannot reach into the public's heart the way Diana once did. That is something irreplaceable, because Diana wasn't just an image. She was emotional. She was a collective memory, a blazing flame in the heart of a nation that once believed the monarchy could feel as close as family. People still recall that after Diana's death, millions of flowers were laid outside the gates of Kensington Palace. No one asked them to. There were no official calls, but those flowers were a nation's farewell. The way the British people crowned Diana Queen of their hearts, without a decree, without a coronation, only with genuine love. And now, as another woman steps onto the throne, the void Diana left behind becomes more visible than ever. Camilla may be queen in title, but in the public's heart, that crown still belongs to the woman who died in tragedy, yet lives on in memory. And yet, even as Camilla wears the crown, standing solemnly beside King Charles in the most grand coronation ceremony of the 21st century, there are whispers that refuse to be silenced. Whispers not from the commoners outside the palace gates, but from within the royal family itself, from those who bear royal blood. And the greatest shock came from a woman who never takes shortcuts, who never hides her thoughts. Princess Anne, a bombshell revelation has just been brought to light by David Emanuel, the man who once stitched every thread of Diana's legendary wedding gown. In a recent interview, he said he had heard of a very sensitive situation that occurred during a pre-coronation party. While guests were raising glasses in celebration, Princess Anne, with a chilling tone and eyes as sharp as blades, is said to have turned to Camilla and stated, without a hint of hesitation, "Your queen consort, not queen." The room fell silent. No one spoke, but their eyes said everything. A wave of quiet tension swept through the room, filled with nobility, because that wasn't just a sentence. It was a direct stab at a wound that had never healed in the royal heart. The wound named Diana. David Emanuel's story ignited a storm of controversy, because if it's true, then there is no doubt that the royal family has never truly accepted Camilla as a proper queen. They may shake her hand, they may share a table, appear in the same photo frame, but the difference between a legal title and one granted by the people's hearts is still a chasm too wide to bridge. And Princess Anne's statement that she is known for her firmness and absolute loyalty to royal protocol